G'day, I'm Antonio, or Zinger, and today we're going to be looking at Smithereens vs. Widdersham. This set went game 4. I believe Widdersham won game 3, and the first 3 games were pretty even, with the 4th game being a little sided to Smithereens, but regardless, it was still a pretty good show to kind of put the proof in the pudding for what could happen. Just outlining what this VOD review will kind of look at. The first parts I kind of want to look at is just I do want to look at advantage state because Lucas is probably one of my more optimized matchups. Like across 3 characters, I kind of had to learn, how do you deal with this sort of thing, right? And what I kind of noticed is that you need to be pushing that advantage state once you win it, because Lucas's coast off the fact that people aren't ready to punish the recoveries so often. You know what I mean? Like it actually straight up, like, they get away with murder how many times they just up middle ledge or do a drop ledge forward from ledge. So even in this region, even against Alistair, even against ICK, they'll do this. The second part I want to look at is a little bit of neutral. Like Smithereens in neutral is just pretty good. Like, it's pretty adaptable, pretty malleable, but he does have a few crutches here and there, and he does legitimately struggle when you're forcing him to do the first move. And so yeah, so those will be the 2 kind of things I want to look at. Just advantage state specifically, I want to look at in like a broader scheme, like, not just advantage state instead of off state in like off stage, but like advantage state in like juggle situations, because that's where double jump characters, dipping ones like Sora, like Lucas, are at their weakest. The final thing I want to touch on now is bracket stamina. And one thing I kind of want to just say is that, like, I feel like one of the biggest problems with bracket stamina is that if you're versing a good player who you're not versing a lot, you're already kind of working harder than that good player, because that good player has obviously been around the block a lot of times, right? Smithereens. And it's hard to workshop a lot of ideas in the moment, right? That being said, the more you verse Smithereens, I believe that the bracket stamina will probably get easier. I found that, my bracket stamina got to the point where it was like, I just like wasn't really, and a lot of top players feel this way. It's really rare for a top player to say, like, I try hard in every single match. No, it's every player eventually, if they're versing someone who they know they can beat, they'll lower, the amount of force they need to project out, because, the amount you put in, it shows for your next sets, right? And so the more times you verse Smithereens and the more you keep beating, the mid-level, and you kind of just push past them, I feel like the easier it will get. Granted, that is a complete, outside looking in, and, whatever internal strategies you can do to make yourself feel more energized will probably be good. For me, it was chugging Red Bulls, but I think that's a dog shit strategy, so, whatever. Anyway, let's get into the set. Fuck. Okay. Alright, so yeah, that's one thing I want to look at real quick. So we start the match off here. Nair is going to be his biggest scramble option. I say that because down tilt, while it's his fastest button, it's not really a reliable one, because you can just jump out of it unless you're someone like Fox. And his F tilt is like, not that rewarding at low percent. His jab does nothing at low percent. So at this percent, Nair is gonna be his absolute crutch in a scramble, right? And he whiffs it. And that's good, because Nair actually has like a decent amount of landing ag. Not super, but enough that he can't mash a poke afterwards. Right here, this is an interesting one. So I believe that you went for another up tilt here, which was like, not a bad idea. I mean, it makes sense, because, you'd be able to frame set this if they air dodged. But an interesting thing just to kind of bring up is that I do think that in these matchups, but in just a lot of matchups in Wellington, after doing a juggle like this, it's really worth it to flick your shield. And the reason I say that is because if you flick your shield, right, you go through the frame on a startup and then the release, you get 5 frames of parry. So if they do an attack like this, right, what your nair's just coming out, that's what, like 3 frames of jump squat, probably like maybe like 2 frames here. Probably you probably would have gotten a parry here. That's what I'm thinking, right? If you don't get a parry, then they probably air dodged, right? And then you can get a reaction punish. If you want to be really, really cost effective or really optimal in the situation, you can hold shield and then let go of it, like a little delayed flick, so that you cover more of a parry window, or you at least make yourself safer, so that if they hit you early, then you just get shield, or if they hit you late, you get a parry, and then you can whiff punish their aerial again. Obviously, Lucas up here is like tremendously safe, but I still do think you could get some decent stuff out of it, if not just an escape. Because while I think parries are good, to do an up B out of shield as Link, I think they're also kind of equally valuable for zoners just to like get out of the situation and just reset it. So that could be a value thing that you're going to look at. But this is at low percent, right? So I would recommend like running away here after doing a parry. But what we'll find is that when you have a boomerang set, especially at like the 60% ranges, I'll start advocating for this more and more, and I'll kind of elaborate on it. But regardless, he goes for a near forward air, you get on the tech chase, up air, forward air, yeah, very common string. Looking for down smash. You do get hit here, but you did retain your jump, which is good, so you're only up to ledge. So you jumped here, dodged that, nice. Roll, yeah, not bad, I guess. Needing to call it out. Okay. Okay. Hmm. So I do think that, like, I don't think this is a bad idea, doing this back air into up smash, because, it's decently unpunishable with how shields work in this game, on platforms. The only problem I would have with it is that I think it is a bit early in the stock to do that. And I don't mean that from like a conditioning point of view. I mean that more in like a percent point of view. You know what I mean? So if you did hit him, that's like 60% or something like that, right? Um, and you set him into maybe a juggle. I don't know how plus this is at this percent from this distance. So I would say it's probably not even really a juggle, more so like a slightly favorable air reset. um, I feel like it makes your next up smash just kill a lot less, and you don't really get a lot of it. You know what I mean? Like with Snake, one rule that I set myself is that I would never up tilt, or I tried to never up tilt before 90%. Because, or 100%, depending on who the hell I'm versing. But the reason why is because Staling, it really puts, well, not Staling, the freshness bonus on any given move is huge, right? Like Snake up tilt goes from killing at like 95% on some characters to like killing at 110. You know what I mean? Like it's actually deranged how much of a difference it makes. So I think that ripping this up smash, and I think it does stale on shield as well, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that. But ripping this up smash kind of means that you get less reward off of the next up smash you hit, unless you do 10 moves. But also, you're not getting a lot of reward even if you do hit it, right? So I mean, like, this is such a throwaway moment, and I don't even know if you meant to do it, but I do feel like it is important to stress scaling of options, and kind of just going for an up tilt here, I think would probably be best, just because then you get probably better shield pressure. How many frames is the hit stun? 11 frames. Wait, no, wait. Which one is it? Hold on. Let me just pause this over. There you go. It is shield stun. I always forget which one it is. Yeah. So what is it? 11 frames of shield stun. Up smash has 8 frames of shield stun on there. 32, 23. Yeah, so it will be safer, right, in the long term there. And also, I feel like you can poke at their toes more. And you can just kind of force them to jump, right? Which means you can play the minigame of up tilt, up air, or up tilt, right? But yeah, that's kind of something that I'll stress over the course of this VOD, I think. Because you know this up smash just sets up into like a. It doesn't. You probably don't get punished. Yeah, you. I doubt you would, but it does mean that he gets to play his turn, sort of thing, right? Hmm. What was this up smash out of? So you hit a nair. Side B. Oh, okay. So this was like a scramble break, I imagine, right? Like having him hit something here. Right. Okay. Yeah. Again, I would say that I just don't think I think that for the scaling of it, right? Um, I just don't think it's a very good risk reward. You know what I mean? Even if it will kind of let you escape a shield pressure that someone's gonna set, I would almost advise even doing like a roll, right? Like if someone hits you on shield, and let's just look at Lucas' attacks just to kind of contextualize everything, right? So your up smash is frame 10? Yes. Okay, so Lucas's aerials are not always going to be, this minus, but as a general frame of mind, his advancing aerials, that being, forward air, up air to a certain extent, and Zair, which we won't count because it's weird, but these are relatively safe, right? And the reason they're relatively safe is because the idea is that you do aerial into option. And his grab is slow. Where is it? Here it is. It's frame 12, right? So Fox and Lucas share a similar dynamic here, right? Where they want to do a landing aerial and they want to do an option after that. And they want to trap you in that, right? So a lot of the time, Lucas will try bait people into doing an out of shield option so that they can mash their own option afterwards, right? So if they do forward air into down tilt, that catches just about everything, right? If you grabbed, you get owned. If you jumped, you get owned. And if you do a roll, you might even get hit depending on how the frame data works out. But in general, actually, no. If you roll, you'll be fine. If you spot dodge, you'll get owned because he can just mash down to it, right? And that sets up the dynamic of, okay, well, I can't grab. I have to do either a really fast out of shield option or like a neutral air, right? And so in this instance, he shields afterwards, right? I don't really know why he shielded, to be honest, because I don't think there was much of a threat here if he just down tilted, but he shielded, right? And so if he shields, he covers a lot of what you do except for grab, right? Obviously, Link's grab range is pretty ass, and you are also behind him, so there's not a lot you can do. The thing I would advise here, honestly, is if you're getting hit on shield here, just do a roll. I think rolls are pretty good against Lucas because he has to choose to cover roll a lot of the time. He can't, cover roll while covering everything else. So if you can roll out of shield, I think it's not a bad idea to do so sometimes. And kind of commentating on this up smash won't be viable for basically all of these aerials, I think. There's weird where sometimes it will work and sometimes it doesn't. But like down air, you could up smash, nair, you could up smash, but all of his advancing aerials like forward air, up air, even back air to a certain extent, they just won't be able to get up smash. So I would almost try to frame Lucas as, if he's approaching you from the air, don't up smash because you can't punish it, probably. You know what I mean? It's only if he's approaching you with Nair that I think it's pretty punishable, right? And in any case, right, you know, doing an up smash here, I think still has the same problems as doing an up smash here, where even if you did hit it, you just didn't get a lot of reward out of it. You know what I mean? I think maybe a better idea here, because you did get set up into a scramble because you misinputted, I imagine. I think it was side B, right? There's just a misinput here. I assume you're obviously meant to do like a weight bounce, right? And he did an empty hop, and so he didn't do a 4-day. That was actually my mistake. So he did an empty hop to try bait out an option. And it's a pretty good strategy. I mean, we know that. I imagine, the mix-up here is meant to be like empty hop into grab, and I'm not sure if that was specifically what he was looking for, or maybe specifically what you were looking out for, but I do think that even in this spot, roll still beats out the grab and the empty hop, so I think it's a bit of a pretty good strategy. Eventually, I will say don't over-rely on it, because Smithereens will just catch on, and then, he'll look to punish that. But once you set that down, then you get to play the 50-50 more, and then you get to do your options like Nair, like up smash, But yeah, so if you hit this, you just wouldn't have gotten much reward of it. I think maybe up tilt would have been a better scramble break, because it's relatively fast. Frame rate covers a bit of the air, and you were behind him, so maybe that would have worked. But I don't know. But regardless, we'll move on from that. Up tilt probably wouldn't have worked. And then up smash. Yeah, that's a bit of a standard. Yeah, so that's another thing, is that, like, I think also up B has something to be said about maybe being a little weaker here. Just because the margins on up B and Nair and up smash, the risk reward at this percent, I think is a bit devastating. He got like an up air into a Nair here, whereas like even like a grab out of shield probably wouldn't get too hard punished by that. Especially because Lucas Nair is -10, so I do think that kind of scaling your options, like I think it would be a fine option to go for if it was like 120%, because it's more of a threat, right? And if they messed up, you would have killed them. But if they messed up here, the best you get is like a little bit of a off stage, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, nice. Cool. Okay. Yep. Oh, no. Nice. Good DI. Back. Yeah, that's a common strategy he does. I don't know what that up smash was, but, whatever. What a cool character. Nice. Okay, what do you do here? Okay, so you hit him with an up tilt here. This is a scramble. We know that Lucas has a shitty double jump, and his landing options are not that good. There's like two ways you could go here. You could do another up tilt. You're definitely in the favorable range to do it. Ideally, I guess you would want to do a pivot up tilt. The other thing you could do is you could just shield and wait, because the Lucas has to land, and Lucas can't fast fall Nair the same way, Fox can fast fall Nair, right? Because he will force himself to eat, how many frames of landing lag? 12 frames of landing lag, right? So you could do. I think it's actually perfectly fine to just shield here because they're not high enough to where they're going to be put on the platform, right? So you're either forcing a double jump or you're catching an air dodge slash attack with a shield and then parry option select, right? Which, side note, is a really good strategy to do against Incineroar because Incineroars love holding down be at a disadvantage, right? So if you do a shield parry option select there, you counter them doing a nair out of hit stun, and you also counter them doing revenge out of hit stun. Oh, look at that. He did do double jump air dodge. Okay, so let's eat. What can you do here? So you know, they didn't attack, they didn't do like a forward air, and even if they did do a forward air out of hit stun and you did like an up tilt, you would have won the trade, right? And I think Smithereens knows that, right? So he did a double jump air dodge. So here, I would honestly just reaction follow up. So could have probably done like a forward air or something like that. But I respect the side B place anyway, because you know you're setting up the advantage state here and you force a recovery at least. I do think probably threatening the ledge a little faster there would have been good because they're probably very conscientious of this boomerang. But regardless, you still hold advantage state. Good shield. I don't know what you could have punished with there. I'm honestly a big fan of just taking this back here and just running to the center stage with it. That's fine as long as you're just like you don't need to challenge out of shield a lot at early percents. I don't think. In fact, I think that Lucas looks for you to do that a lot, or there's like a lot of characters look for you to do that a lot. So just trying to like help yourself to center stage is really strong here. And he did punish it, but that's one of Link's weaknesses, and you're still winning anyway. So could you have shielded here? Oh, I guess that was true. I don't know. Good safety. Oh. Yep. Nice. Okay, he's off stage. You got a nair. You got a double nair. Nice. Okay. So, this is one of the big showcases of Lucas's recovery. So, I don't exactly know if Link has the right tools to kind of punish this recovery well. So, you know, we'll kind of take it step by step. But the biggest thing you want to punish is not this, because this is pretty much uncontestable, unless you're right next to them or you're Isabel, right? But around here is when his invulnerability stops, just around when he stops glinting. As we can see, God, fuck, I don't want to. Okay. As we can see here, if you do the up B intangibility thing, so intangibility is 1 through 9, and for the rest of it, he is completely vulnerable, right? So, I had a video VOD of this that, I don't know where it is, but it was basically a VOD of me, like, rinse and repeat forward airing him off of ledge with Rob forward air. And that's the idea, is that he is actually, right over here, he's really weak, right? So, I was watching this VOD here, this one right here, and what he was doing was that he was either throwing the bomb down to catch him there, which is like a fine one, because you do force a bomb pull, but, he did also use, like, Nair, and he did find a couple forward airs. Obviously here, it's a bit of a steep angle, you could maybe do a ledge slip Nair if you know that he has to up B, and he does have to up B, right? But like even even if you can't punish this recovery route, and it is tough punishing this recovery route, right? You can rely on Lucas's off ledge game because it's pretty weak, and we'll run that through. But over here, I would say that if you can find the ledge slip Nair, go for it. If you can reliably do it with down air, maybe you could do like a runoff rising down air. You could maybe get away with that, because then also if they up into here, you might be able to hit them. Maybe look into that, see what you can do. Now let's go on to general frame data, because there's another thing that I would like to look at. Jump high, walk speed, dash speed. I'm looking for the ledge game. Ledge stats. Here we go. Roll. Is there a distance? Okay, give me one moment. Here we are. So Lucas has one of the worst ledge rolls in the game, right? Um, Now I don't know exactly how accurate this tier list actually is, right? And it also changes because Joker's got a really thin body, right? But Lucas has got a really fat body. And so what I would abuse, and what this means, kind of, is that with characters with shorter ledge rolls, like Lucas, that means that you actually can play the ledge trap closer, right? Which is a huge benefit, right? Because if your ledge roll is long, and you've got a thin body like Lucario or Zero Suit Samus, it's actually really tough to ledge trap because they create two zones of interest that you have to guess which ones they're going to take. With Lucas, it's a lot more linear, right? And I also do believe that Sora is somewhere here. I did lab that a bit, but I don't know. And I also don't even know how scientific this is. But this does point to a pretty, I think, agreeable standard. Um, so let's watch him grab the ledge, right? So I think this was a bit much doing the double jump, um, bomb. That being said, you were just doing the thing that I was saying the other guy did. Uh, it was just obviously like a little late because you came from like a ledge trap here, but it was a good idea. Like I do like the idea of it. You probably could have just set up your standard ledge trap here. That being said, I do feel like Smithereens is one of the better players at grabbing bomb. So I don't know how you want to play with bomb around the ledge. Like I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of his play against your bomb on the ledge. Maybe we'll see some this game. But going back to the roll distances, right? Since his roll distance is so short, honestly, you will really rarely see it. Like, I never saw Smithereens roll against me except for like a few times, right? Generally, he only rolls out of scrambles, right? So the good thing about it is that it means that your general zone of interest is around this sort of circle right over here. So this sort of circle is like the only parts you really need to care about. Obviously, there's a little bit over here because they can drift out and still make it back on the stage sometimes, or just ledge camp you. But in general, I do think that this sort of area is the only thing you need to worry about. So your best tools are probably F tilt. And the reason I'd say is that if you put yourself probably around here and you could just F tilt them on ledge hang, you can just create a really nice 50-50 or a really nice like mind game of like, okay, I can do an unreactable F tilt here, and you have to respect that. So if I walk up to you, you have to do an option, right? What I would do as Snake is I would like stand around here and I would feint walks. So I'd go like walk up to him, flick shield, or walk up to him, hold shield or whatever. And the idea is that if he was waiting for me to do something like an up tilt or stay for see me staying in shield, I would abuse that and I would do a down smash, right? And then I would kill him off the side. Um, and if I knew that he knew of the down smash, I knew that he would go for something else, and that would be like your neutral get up, your jump get up, and your ledge drop forward air, right? So if you're shielding here, you punish like every one of those options, right? If he does a neutral get up, you can do a grab, obviously, a simple reset. I would honestly say a nair is pretty good because, it hits really meaty. You could even do an up smash out of shield to hit meaty. Spargo does that with Cloud. I don't know how well you could do that with Link, but maybe that's an idea. Obviously, way too low percent here. Grab is just fine. You could also do a meaty F tilt. That's really good if you let go of shield. And if they get up attack, obviously you do whatever you want. If they do double jump cancel Zero, which they did here, it's a little bit trickier. That's one of the ones where you need to do nair out of shield. Because it's basically a jump in that it's unreactable and also it's just really safe on shield. So that's when you want to do nair out of shield. And for jump, if they're jumping over ledge, you've kind of won the situation, and you can, you don't even need to chase them. You just need to run under them, because then they're forced to do a either an attack where you can parry slash up tilt it, or air dodge, which you can, follow through with it. If they do a drop ledge aerial, um, my advice would just be hold shield and then do just follow whichever way the aerial goes. So what I would do is I would sit here, they do double jump cancel. Sorry, no, they do double jump aerial forward air, right? Cross me up, and I would do a back air. Not cross me up, and I would do an up air. Obviously, you've got different tools, so forward air would probably be best for you if they landed here, and back air would probably be best for you if they landed here. They did double jump cancels there here. It's completely free for him to do that. It's really easy input, which is kind of good for us actually, because it means that we can predict it more easily. So this is where your Nair lead trapping comes into play, right? And you will beat it out with Nair. I actually like this idea. I like that you went for this frame trap with up air. You didn't get to follow it because he just went the other way. But I like the idea of, up tilting into an up air here. That being said, I do also think if you flicked shield here, you could easily, follow them, right? Even with a grab. Nice boomerang. Okay. What's the arrow doing there? So boomerang. Arrow. Yeah, I guess that did kind of just punish him from doing. Zero out of shield. Sorry, zero out of headstone is one of his biggest things he will do, and it's kind of hard to punish, to be honest. So it's not like the worst thing actually hitting it here. That's pretty cool. Okay. Up B's back in the situation because you managed to stuff out the Zare, which is actually pretty cool. I like the way that you got to stuff out the Zare. That kind of just sets up your turn, right? Another way I was thinking you could stuff out Zares is by doing rolling bombs, maybe. I don't know how well that would work. But, you've forced him off of ledge. Um, so from here, you could probably, I mean, yeah, you really just need to find what works, right? Maybe some trial and error in training room. I think down air might work. I don't really know how much his drift would fuck you up on that. Maybe you would want to do like a double jump down there like that. Forward air, I have a feeling would be best. But you might have to ledge slip it. Nair even, I think Nair might honestly be best because you would cover everything here with Nair, I think. So maybe ledge slip Nair is something to work to look at. Okay, covering the high. Ooh, okay, yeah. So this up B, and like I understand the up B, it would be it's just a call out, right? Like you're pretty aware of that. The thing I would say though is that it's just the margins of risk are just a little too high considering what percent you're at, right? Um, that being said, I mean, I guess you were pretty safe. I don't think he would have killed you, but yeah, I feel like there was safer ways to pressure here with just like a forward air or something like that, right? Just like really simplifying. But I don't know. Mm-hmm. Okay. So he didn't air dodge here, and you weren't able to punish it. But what happened? So, fuck me, dude. Okay. Just gonna lower this music, actually. Oh, actually, I'm gonna. Okay. So you were in the negative tilt. Okay, so right here, when you hit the side B here, I honestly think it's worth just running under him, maybe. Or even if you can pull a bomb, or actually, no, I do think that running under him would be best here because one thing I like about it is that you can close the running gap faster than he can put himself out of hit stun, right? So if you put yourself under him, you force him to play the 50-50 game a lot quicker. Where, the arrow here does punish him for mashing, but not that strongly, right? But if you run under him and you do shield, delayed parry, whatever, you do punish the up air a little bit more, and you threaten with up air to shield or up smash a lot more, right? And one thing that I would really like to see here is I honestly think like at this percent, this is where just like short hop forward air shines, right? Like this is forward air in its natural element, right? And we're about to see another thunder recovery. Probably could have gone for an air. Okay, assuming he lived that, right? Because he just fucked that recovery up. Um, we had 3 thunder recoveries that you will probably be able to kill with him on in the future. And that's a good sign because, if you put him in that spot and if you can get that spot repeatedly, eventually when you start killing off it, that's going to show in the stock counts, right? Which is really good. I can only assume that was shin guarding. Nice. I imagine that was some 0 to death setup, or just footstool setup. Footstool setup. Okay. Nice. Okay. I imagine that was meant to be bomb pull or something like that. Nice F smash. Cool edge trap actually. Probably could have gone to forward or something. Actually, that was nice. I actually like that. Because you get him with the F smash here. I think this was kind of, what we talked about over setting up sometimes. But honestly, it did get you a lot actually. And you whiff punished him after the air dodge, which I'm a big fan of, because a lot of the time they're not going to jump out of hit stun, and that's actually pretty good. Nice. Okay. Yeah, so out of here, right, we saw a forward air out of hit stun. You could probably punish this by just doing an F tilt, or again doing the shield, because you probably were in the range to get a shield here, but I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say that wasn't true, but it might have been true on jump slash air dodge out of shield. I'm not sure. In general, I think in this matchup, it's one of those matchups where you want to air dodge more. I think that jump out because once you lose your jump, I don't know, getting upbeat over and over again is pretty painful, right? But I guess it's a frame trap, so it's whatever. Okay. We've got the juggle. Obviously, like Link up air is kind of one of the harder up airs to work with, so it's rare to get these kind of juggles. But we've got a juggle. What do we do with it, right? So you'll see here, it's an immediate panic button, right? Like this is what Lucas has to do. Like if it was Fox or something, they would nair and then just fast fall out, or they would do a double jump and then fast fall down. If it's any other character, they can just do whatever. If you're a floaty with a shit double jump, it's hard to land, right? So they're gonna instantly fast fall. Sorry, air dodge. Yeah. So you can play more reactive than you need to, I think. Then I think you are. You know what I mean? Like I feel like this is like a almost like a fast faller call out. Like this is like something that would work against like a fox or something, right? Because they've got that full speed to make every disadvantage option unreactable, right? But if you're someone like Lucas, a lot of your disadvantage is reactable, and you can just spend this time reacting here. He did do a neutral air dodge, which is pretty safe. But if you throw out an aerial somewhere where he was, maybe even like a back air. I don't know how his moves kind of function. I imagine that you probably were forced to land after you hit that up air. But if you chased him up with like maybe a back air or even like a nair or something like that, I feel like it would have worked. Because like again, Fox makes those unreactable, but Lucas is completely reactable in those spots, and so is someone like Sora. And so if you chase with like a back air or a nair, you'll do really well, I think. Okay, I like these rising forwarders. This is the spot we use rising forwarder, right? I really do like that. That was a nair out of shield. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's like tied fastest with a lot of your options, right? So it's like that's realistic. And it also was up air to shield, up air on shield. But again, I do think rolling here, like it's not like obviously it's not like a flex tape solution, right? But it adds more to the 50-50, right? It has to force Smithereens to think in his pressure. Whereas right now he's kind of just mashing moves on shield, right? And it works because he's got fast buttons. He can afford to do that, right? But if you force him to be considerate of having to cover your role options, suddenly you open up a new dynamic where he has to actually call you out. And it also works to your advantage because if he whiffs, that means you're a sortie zoner, you can benefit off the space that you just created, right? Um, Sheesh, close. Nice. I think running underneath them and just kind of checking them for an anti-air could have been good there. I think you were trying to calling him out from dropping underneath the platform, I imagine. Nice rolling, close the sorry, closing the gap. Unfortunately, not gonna be able to get a lot of it on the side B. You're forcing him to approach. You could probably start opening up some F tilt or down tilts to space. That was a good idea. How did you get that? I imagine that was from a nair. Nair, run up, nair. Oh, damn. Okay. That's a good idea. And I actually think that was really nicely done. You probably could have done F tilt here, maybe it would have been easier for you. But I think the idea here is nice. And one thing I like about it is I might even link this, is that um so in Ultimate and in a lot of platform fighters actually, your neutral tick, your no tick, and your rolls all share a vulnerability window of roughly like 5 frames, right? And this is, I mean, and by that I mean like if you hit on this, you can hit them all on the same 5 frames, and like a hitbox will hit each one regardless of the option they did, right? It's a terrible way to explain it, but basically what I'm saying is that if you have good timing, you can cover every option, or not every option. You can cover uh, generally 2 out of the 4 options, or even 3 out of the 4 options, depending on what your move set is, right? So if you do a down smash, so this down smash would have killed probably a no taker, right? This probably hit no tech and killed. Maybe it even hit roll in. Um, But if you delayed it slightly, you would have been able to both hit no tech and hit neutral tech. And the general advice for tech chasing, in terms of hitting at a time when you would hit all ledge options, all tech options, vulnerability wise, is you want to look at the no tech animation, and roughly when the second bounce ends is when you want to throw your attack out. And when you do that, you can cover the vulnerability of all of the other options, right? And the reason I think this is so good, right, is because if you're in the corner, right, you could cover every single option, right? Because if they were here and you did the down smash here, you would have been able to time it so that you hit neutral get up, neutral tick, tick roll to out, tick roll in with the sour hit, and no tick, right? And you might already know this, but I think it's just something worth practicing. Is just going into practice tool, getting a dummy on no tech or tech if you've got a modded switch, and maybe practice that, I guess. But I think just thinking about it, not as in you're reacting to the different ones, more so in the oh, just do the same timing, right? And it is roughly around the second bound high, the when they're about to land on their second bounce. That's when they're roughly all of their animations, not animations, all of their vulnerability windows are opened up for a moment of time. But this was a good idea, and you would have probably killed him. I don't really know how down smash works. Nice. Okay, he tried to run up and bait you doing an up B. That's very common and good that you did near. This full hop is a little scary. I would try avoid full hopping too much in these spots because they're looking for a hard call out, I think. Ooh, now this down smash, I think it was either an attempt to two frame, but I don't think it was because I think you do know that tethers don't have the two frame vulnerability window, right? So I feel like it was a hard call out that he was gonna hold the ledge, or they was gonna do a ledge drop aerial, right? And I feel like it's not a bad idea. The problem is that you did charge it a little too early, so you kind of showed your hand a little earlier. I think, right? So like you showed your hand around here where, I mean, it was on him to delay his Zair, which is good, so you could react more. But yeah, in general, I think try to go for a down smash when they're about to grab the ledge or have already grabbed the ledge. Um, because then you open up the fret, because they are at 121. Their vulnerability is running out. Um, so doing a down smash like that would be pretty good, just a delayed down smash. But you did show your hand a little too early. But I do like the idea here. I think that's pretty good. And yeah, that's such a common Smithereen thing, is that like his go-to strat is just neutral get up, grab, back throw. You can counter this honestly by calling it out and just playing safe on ledge and then hitting him with a meaty. Your F tilt will hit pretty well, I think. And if not, maybe just grab him. But just keep in mind is that when you do keep yourself in shield, he will just instantly spot dodge instead of grab. And then he'll do a grab afterwards. Nice. Close. Okay. Nice. Nice. Good, simple conversion. I do like this now. Unfortunate it did not send out, but that was a good idea. I do like rolling tumbling bomb. I think that's a really cool idea. Yeah, I'm actually fine with this. He did bait you into doing that up B. That's just the metagame of it, right? But I do like that you use this option at this percent because while it does open you up to a pretty big punish, you were only at 31. And the risk reward was that you probably didn't kill him, I imagine, but you put him in a pretty bad spot, or you take a bit of damage. And I think this trade is fine. The risk reward was played nicely there, I think. Also, can this pause? Yeah, I'll reload the player real quick. Oh, fuck me. Alright. Here we go. Yeah, I do like rolling bomb. I think that's a cool idea. Another thing is that if you open them up to thinking that you're gonna roll in those situations, up B does become stronger because then they have to call it out, right? But that's something to kind of think about. In general, I am kind of the idea that you should maybe abuse roll a little bit more out of shield. But that could also be the antithesis of what a lot of Link players do, so I'm not really sure. Nice. Okay. Just thinking back on here, so you did throw a boomerang here, and he did side B. Were you trying to block with the shield? Because I imagine that's kind of the walking animation of someone who's trying to block with the shield. I'm sure you've labbed it to some degree. I wonder how consistent that is. And does it put you in any lag? Because if it does, I don't know how much better it is than just shielding. But if it doesn't, I guess it could be pretty worth. But it is also 100%, right? So it's a bit of it's definitely a risk, right? I honestly think just shielding here is probably fine, especially because he's close to you, so he will be negative to some degree, right? But I don't know. Like, let's just quickly fact check to see how minus he is. Yeah, he'll be minus 24. So you get your turn back if you shield it there, I think. Nice. Good ideas. Okay, let's see this juggle state. So you forced him in the air. So you were acting very preemptive here. And I think that's fine in a matchup that calls for it. You know, like someone who has a lot of mix-ups, air mix-ups, like even like Snake to a certain degree, he forces a lot of preemptive options, right? Depending on the character. But, you know, again, going back to it, as a floaty who has a bad double jump and pretty bad landing options, you know, you don't have like a downer that like sends you down. I think it's good to just play reactive here and just like, you know, just shield here and then follow him, or just walk and follow him. If it comes to the point where he's doing a fast fall air dodge in general and you want to punish it, down smashing is really good because if they're going to land on you, but you don't know which side, down smash will cover both sides, right? But again, yeah, just kind of playing more reactive here, I think is pretty good. In this matchup specifically, I think it's good ideas in matchups that have unreactable landing options, but Lucas isn't one of those, and those reactable landing options aren't necessarily good either. And good near out of shield. What was that? Nice. I wonder how good Rolling Nate is at denying side B. I guess it wouldn't be that much because side B would explode it, but I'm not sure. Yeah, rough. That just happens. Cool, cool, cool. Reclaiming center stage. Okay, nice. Good up tilt. Again here, we'll just comment on it again. I think you could have shielded here. or flicked your shield and punished him for doing a Zair slash up air slash air dodge reactively. Good scramble. Nice, nice. That's actually a really good way to use landing forward air too. Not landing forward air 2, forward air 2, the second hit. And like I really like how you use this forward air and landed afterwards, but you know, the second forward air here really covered a lot. I mean, that's a good strategy. This was a good idea. There might be some other ways you could look to do this. You could also do like a you know, run off double jump back nair. That's pretty good to cover these things. Even maybe forward air to a certain degree, but this is I know why you did this, and it's a good idea. I do think the fast fall afterwards might have been a misinput, or just a bit of an overshoot. But I do like the idea here, and I really like this setup here. I think that's, once you have the max amount of space, you can just do whatever you want. This is a really good idea, I think, because it just forces. It's like a, it's what I like in fighting games where it's just you're setting up like a rolling boulder, and forcing your opponent to jump over it. And this is really good coverage of it. Thought it was good, yeah, nice. And you avoided the down air, was that? Yeah, nice. I do think you were using down air a lot in this matchup to land. You know my feelings on down air, so I won't comment on it too much. But I do think that, especially in this spot here, where they did do an up smash, I think just jumping out is, you know, pretty meritful. Especially because you're in a spot where I don't think you got a lot anyway. So I think you would have gotten a lot over just, you know, just jump. Oh, wait, no, you did use a double jump actually. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, you used a double jump here. Yeah, so I think jumping out would have just netted you some reward. Um, you know, because then you could have reacted to that. But that's just my thoughts on it. Good reversal. I assume that just barely escaped it because some DI shenanigans. Okay, so going back to the ledge trap here, right? So you got him in a really good spot to get a ledge trap, right? And we know now that he's probably not going to roll because it's a dog shit roll, right? So already you could play the ledge trap more around here, right? And he did a jump, right? So you could, you know, you could do a reaction up air and catch him mid-air. You could also just react to his landing and just try see what he's doing. Try see his general air drift and airspace. If he's around here, you could just up tilt and catch him doing this back here. And you probably would have killed him. Good idea. And yeah, nice. Nice. Oh, we had a bit of shield there. The down air auto cancels, so that's not too bad. You do put yourself in a kind of a bad spot because this is kind of like the brawler zone that Smithereen likes to be to. So the only comment I would have on here is that I do think you should just drift inwards, maybe like to over here. That way you can kind of set up your turn again. Okay. Scramble, okay. Up tilt, nice. Reactive, would have punished that. That is a Young Link combo, my guy. That would have farmed likes on Twitter, if you were playing Young Link. Unfortunately, you do not quite have the same arrow. That is a cool idea. Um, Obviously a bit of a call out if they do a double jump, I presume. Do they have their double jump? Yeah, they did. So I assume you were waiting for them to do a double jump and you would have caught them out there. Or maybe you were expecting some hurtbox shenanigans. The one thing I would commentate on is that just like double jumping as Lucas as Sora is super unlikely. Like really, if they do, and you went for a grounded guess, they lose anyway, right? So a lot of them are just not going to double jump out of disadvantage. So this up B kind of only works on normal characters, right? So here, I think something that could have been better is looking to poke his landing, especially because he did Zair. Zair's particularly challenging move to parry punish. But maybe poking with F tilt or forward air, I think would have netted you a bigger reward and potentially the kill. Mm. Going back to punishing Thunder, I think here you could have just kind of neared around here and you would have hit him. Like fuck, even let's count the frames even. It might be slightly tighter there, but I do think that you should be able to punish it nonetheless. So what? Let's do up B. Obviously, there's gonna be a scuffed way of counting it, right? But one. This is probably roughly where he's vulnerable, and you could have hit that with Nair. Which is a thing everyone struggles with, and I feel like if you punish this consistently, you really get up there for Smithereen, because now he has to think about his advantage more. So hitting the Nair there, I think would have been pretty good. And if you really were, Giga Chat about it, you could probably hit him with a sweet spot Nair timed. Let's look at this ledge trap though that you got off of it. So, fuck me, dude. I hate this fucking website. So you forced him into an up B recovery. I'm gonna restart the play real quick so we get an actual. Here we are. So you got a nice ledge trap out of it. You did use down smash from, I think, yeah. So I imagine this must have been either you were looking to kind of hit him with the late hit here, or you were looking for a roll. As we know, the roll only goes about here, so you can be, way less spaced to punish it. And an F tilt probably would have punished him for doing ledge hang here, or even down smash. Whatever works. So they do a forward air into that. Doesn't work, and it was good awareness to do an uppy here. I like this awareness here of doing a up smash here. You could have shielded to make the gambit a little better, but actually no, this is probably best nonetheless. Because you were doing it out of your forward air whiff, so you actually kind of baited him into something, which is pretty cool actually. I actually like this call out you got here of forward air up smash. That's good. Awesome. So for this game, we'll kind of just speed running through it because I think it's probably feeling some burnout or whatever. And it was tough, right? Maybe I'll call out some mistakes, but I'll probably realistically just kind of go over the things that we were just talking about throughout this VOD review. So I think one big thing that we've noticed is that playing advantage set more reactively, I feel like just nets you so much reward in these floatier matchups because while their options, some floatier matchup characters have good options, but even then, you can still react to them, right? The options you're doing a lot of are ones that would just destroy fast fallers, right? Which is good because fast fallers require a lot of preemptive callouts, but against these floaty characters, especially the ones who have bad disadvantage, like Sora, like Ness, like Daisy, even in my opinion. Obviously, she's got float, so her ledge disadvantage isn't the worst, but her juggling disadvantage is still pretty bad. You can play more reactively in those juggle disadvantages against those characters, right? I'm sure I included Lucas in that. And so kind of looking for either shield flicks or even just a boomerang there, or a an F tilt poke, a forward air, even Nairs or something like that. I think they could be pretty good as reactive pokes. Um, maybe side B not as a reactive poke, maybe side B more as a preemptive thing, but regardless, you're catching the air dodges or you're catching the mashing out of hit stun. You're rarely ever going to catch a double jump because they don't want a double jump out of disadvantage, right? Um, so the other thing kind of look at is kind of maybe see how much you can exploit Lucas Thunder, see what your best move is. For Snake, it was back here, so I would grab the ledge and then I'd do a back here. For Rob, it was forward air, so I would grab the ledge, I would drop ledge, I would gyro, reverse, jump cancel forward air, which is harder than it sounds. I would literally just do like gyro, B reverse into forward air, right? And just constantly hit him off stage with it. And for Pac-Man, I would just do down air. For anything else I want to look at specifically? I think that like for neutral, you're playing it pretty decently. I would kind of rely. I would try to introduce roll more, especially in scramble scenarios, because obviously Link doesn't have fast buttons. And even as fast, like, buttons like Nair, which are still like frame 10, so it's not super fast, right? I feel like Nair and up B kind of work more as a punish to people who've gotten used to you rolling. So that's a good call out, I think, there. And obviously use both sides of the roll, but I think they could be pretty good at escaping pressure and creating distance between you and your opponent. Other than that, I think that's a pretty condensed summary of what we've looked at. It was a very good VOD. And I feel like, I mean, there's a lot of floaties in Wellington. So a lot of these principles do apply against Jigglypuff, Peach, and Sora because they all have bad double jumps that extend their hurt box. And they ideally want to escape juggles as fast as possible, right? Jigglypuff is a little different because they can jump out of it a bit more because they've obviously got more jumps. But like Peach, Sora, and Lucas are more likely to do an attack at a disadvantage, juggle disadvantage, than double jump, and they're also more likely to air dodge than double jump, right? In fact, I would kind of look at those two options as the key highlights of what they're probably going to do. And then you can kind of open yourself to, oh, how can I reaction punish this? I'd say probably you could probably F tilt to preemptively punish a lot of the things they do out of hit stun because they're gonna regardless of what they do, they have to land, right? And they're gonna land in a pretty particular, pretty reactive or easy to predict speed because they're just floaties. So you could probably do kind of like, little pokes like forward air or something like that to try catch them out on doing an air dodge. But inevitably it'll be just whatever you can find. Yeah. If there's anything that I can clarify, let me know. But yeah. See you later.